Hello everybody and welcome to the Days Filthy 20 episode, episode 13, Behind the Mask. For those that don't know what happened last week, where the fuck were you, for Christ's sake, starting off. And as well as that, there was basically some large events. If you didn't catch last week's episode, I generally recommend that you do watch it, as there was a lot of plot development as well as the discovery of what the Doctor is, who we now found out his name is El Dottore. Following up on that, moving on. Last thing they saw was a large group of what could have only been described as Children of the Corn scenario suddenly attacking the place where they were, where they met the strange elven woman with ears as long as one's arm. Again, I generally recommend that you watch it. I kind of sound scatterbrained for reasons. I'm a bit tired and whatnot, so moving on to the show. Today, unfortunately, Fergus will be autopiloted by me as he is a little sick boy and he couldn't make it. Okay, so he's a piece of shit. But anyway, we left off when our heroes were running towards the next town. El Dottore had used the one spell that none of them had ever heard of except for Jackson Hayes, known as Black Hole Sun. One of the cursed spells of this world, known for leaving large areas of peace, but also eradicating all life within it. Now, we will continue. Everybody? Mark? Sean?
Okay.
Exactly. You guys are running towards the next town. You've all went through some shit. You can just see the outskirts of the next village. You don't know the name. You're starving. You're extremely bruised. You just lost Silva.
Oh no, we lost Sylvie. Whatever should we do?
Oh no, it's like we shouldn't have stepped her to a
Okay.
tree.
Let's actually get serious.
So
okay, so yeah, what did the doctor just do?
I will be role-playing Fergus for now. I need to sound like a small child. This is fine.
You can do it.
Effort.
I don't know.
Oh god. Okay, no, Fergus isn't that young. Abort. Abort.
Bored.
FBI. I don't know. Overall, it could be a number of things. I haven't seen such black magic ever being used. Although it seemed to eradicate them, it also seemed to eradicate the Doctor.
Yeah, he used a spell. He used a spell called Black Hole Sun.
Black Hole Sun is going to do a history check. Natural one. He goes fucking cross-eyed and starts just. Yep.
I'll save you the pain, Fergus. It's basically a cursed spell that nobody ever mastered properly.
Regardless, we should try to get to the next town, see if the Doctor somehow made it. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah, we'll find the doctor there for sure.
One
And
can
I have
hope.
a sneaking suspicion that he'll have a flower with him.
Alright. So you guys kind of fast forward there?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it takes you about 3 hours to eventually make it to the outskirts of town. This is more of like a farming town, in a sense. The walls outside are made out of large pieces of logs that have been bisected in half and kind of strapped together with pieces of rope. It's not a great thing. A guy with a fire arrow can essentially fuck up their entire security. Apart from that, you don't see that there are any guards. There are like some people working in the fields around. Some of them have potatoes, cabbages, and shit like that. Like cabbages.
So we see a lot of cabbage workers and stuff like that.
That's correct.
I go up to one of the farmers. Sorry, sir. Can you tell me what this town's called?
Well, this town's actually called Lipton.
Lipton.
You have a nice thing next to you at the moment, don't you?
No. Shut the fuck up, Sean.
Can I do a history check to see if I know the town?
Sure, by all means. You kind of know some things. This was kind of out of the jurisdiction of your current empire and kind of falls within a neutral zone, similar to the previous town you were in. Most of their income comes from export of fresh crops, and they have very fertile land, due to the land once being that of a volcanic area.
Okay. Do I know if it's a peaceful town?
Yeah, you'd know that by default. It doesn't seem to be very hostile. People seem nice. They don't really pay you much mind unless you can't, like, talk to them.
Okay. So, sorry, sir, last name to bother you.
Yeah, sure, what do you need?
Where's the inn in town? You said we need to rest a bit.
The inn, that's a big one. I mean, if you consider the barn over there, we kind of changed the lower level to be a bit of a distillery, you see. I'm sure you could put you up for the night.
Yeah, we'll pay him a pretty penny, so if you can put us
Alright.
up for a night, he'll help a lot.
Well, as you wish, sir. He kind of like shows you with his hand where you need to go, and you can already see like looks like a very large rustic church, except on the top obviously there is no crucifix, but there's like a giant, what's it called, air vane, and that's constantly showing the wind direction, and you just see that it's currently pointing towards northeast.
So, guys, what do you think? We wait for the doctor there?
Yeah, it's best we rest here for a while.
He told us to wait for him here.
Then we shall wait.
Yeah, so we start heading over to the tavern.
Alright, you guys start moving towards the tavern. Fuck's sake. Alright, as you begin moving forward, a small child on the side of the road kind of looks up to you for a brief moment, looking you over. He specifically looks towards Crow, and he starts like running a hand behind his ear slightly as he looks at you. I need you to give me a sleight of hand check.
No. 21.
Okay. He does not meet your save. So you kind of realize you had the point of your elven ear slightly sticking out from under your bandana like thing. I forgot we have, but something that's covering it. And it was showing ever so slightly. You managed to basically quickly cover it as you see this guy's like, what the fuck? Are ears meant to look like that kind of thing? So yeah, you keep moving forward and you eventually reach the entrance of the barn. It's one of the doors is kind of semi-ajar, the others you see is quite battered. It looks like someone had recently stuck his head through it, as there is a fresh plank with 2 nails that's just covering it.
So every town we go to, the tavern always has a fight. Isn't that weird?
Well, actually, sir, you kind of like hear a random like, you look down, it's a fucking gnome. Sir,
Yes?
actually, that's from a small mistake that happened a few days ago. A guy fell over a wheelbarrow.
A wheelbarrow.
Yeah, a wheelbarrow. He just randomly shoved his head through a fucking door.
I thought it was just a bar fight and somebody got...
Nah, this is mostly a peaceful town. The last bar fight we had hasn't been for a long time.
I see.
So, you want to go inside? I'm actually the owner of this establishment.
So you're the owner of this establishment?
Yep.
Yeah. We're looking to rent a room for the night.
Oh, well, that can easily be arranged. I mean, I ain't got much accommodation, but I'm sure if you guys don't mind sleeping on some hay for a few days.
Yeah.
It's fine, we're sort of used to that at this point.
It ain't gonna cost you much, given again I can't really offer you much accommodation. I would say 2 silver a night.
2 silver a night. Yeah, that's not bad at all, actually.
Again, we're trying to make as little as we can around here. Most of our income comes from export.
You see,
He kind of
Yeah.
like at this point kind of pushes it open, and you realize there weren't knockers to the visible eye. The knockers are way lower given his height.
Okay. I grabbed 2 silver pieces and toss them his way.
Thank you. You don't realize it's per head.
Yeah, I'm paying for myself.
I give him my share.
Fergus, I assume, does the same.
Also, it's kind of strange to be getting this much visitors around here. We just had the Twilight Guard go through.
The Twilight Guard, you said?
Yeah, the Twilight Guard. They ain't got no jurisdiction around here, so we send them packing.
I look in Crow's and Fergus's direction.
You see, kind of Fergus's face is kind of going bleached white for a moment.
I see. So the Twilight Guards have passed through here.
Yeah, that's correct. But again, we send them packing. They can't really assault us. We ain't got many of them fancy magic users, truth be told, but we don't mind a helping hand around the fields with a bit of a mage hand, if you get what I mean.
So you guys don't really take.
You
eye
don't
to
really
eye to
care
the
about
band.
those rules, don't you?
Again, luckily enough, our town here, just directly between 2 continents. We ain't gotta bother. We own this shit.
You see.
But anyway,
He kind of like points towards a ladder that leads up to like a higher landing, which is mostly a storage room.
you can sit there if you want. You can start there when you need to go. Apart from that, I also offer you some alcohol if you want. From my own brewery.
You have your own brewery. No.
Yeah, that's correct.
What's your name? Because I never asked you.
Hyson.
Icent. Well, I would like to try your fine ale, Icent.
Hyson, Hysen.
Hyacinth. Hyacinth, sorry, I
It's
misheard
fine,
you.
it's fine, it's fine.
Well, sure thing. The first one's always free.
Kind of like waddles away towards the bar as you kind of see that the bar isn't anything but 2 planks of wood propped up on what seem to be 2 wooden barrels, and there's a very large keg behind him. Behind that there seems to be like another area where more than likely is brewing everything, as you hear like the sound of steam kind of escaping through pipes from time to time.
Yeah, I go up to that little makeshift bar and sit at it.
Yeah, there's like a few stools.
Alright, will your friends also be taking a drink?
Fergus, Crow, are you gonna take ale as well?
Yeah, I'll
Or
take
do you
one.
need it?
I'm rolling for Fergus. Fergus is not going to be a pussy boy and he's going to move up to the bar. He kind of like, at that point, he takes out like 3 shot glasses and goes to the keg behind him. He opens it and for a moment there's no liquid until you see a singular black drop begin to drop out into this glass and it just lands there. He does this for each of them and then hands it back to you.
Oh. What's the flavor of this ale?
Well, people around here have been telling me the taste is different. It's different to each person.
You don't.
Insight check to see if it's safe to drink.
Sure.
And I'll do an insight check to see if it's exactly like the doctor's potions.
16 total.
16 total. It's perfectly fine to drink. You know that you need to have a real high constitution, because this shit is strong.
Max.
Yep.
I do an insight to see if it's anything like the Plague Doctor's potions. His black potion.
Sure, how much did you
general.
get?
I'm gonna roll for it. Inside. 17 total.
They are not brewed in the same way, and the taste, as well as the scent of it, does not match. You don't know. It's more than likely his own concoction.
So I grab the shot glass. Well, guys, it's been a hell of a ride.
Chug, 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 chug.
I cheers to the fallen, and I cheers for the fucked up shit that we've been through.
Alright, you all drink.
Yep.
All give me
Alright,
constitution
well-
saving throws.
Before drinking, I raise my glass since we're toasting or whatever.
I assumed as much, but regardless, constitution saving throw.
19 total.
19, you're fine.
Constitution saving
Yeah.
roll. 21.
You're fine. Rolling for Fergus. Fergus is not fine! Fergus
Is
is
it a
any...
natural?
Yes! I rolled 2 natural ones today. This is fine. Fergus takes it. He looks at you guys smiling for a few moments, and then just on the bar, knocked out, stone cold. Well, bitch boy there can't handle his liquor. Fucking gay. The other two of you, what would be your character's favorite meal and or taste? Example, bacon, grease. Don't say pussy, I swear to God, I will slap a bitch.
John. Okay. I would say a cherry blossom type of taste, I guess.
So cherry blossom sake?
Yeah, pretty much.
Much weep, much wow. Alright, so you kind of, as you do, it tastes a lot like that. For Crow, what would it taste like?
You know what I've gotta say.
The blood of your enemies! No. I'm assuming, like,
Wait.
somehow distilled salmon. Oh god, what is it? You're drinking
tastes
fish
like
oil.
smoked
Congratulations. You've successfully drinked fish oil. What the fuck,
Smoked.
Sean?
Fucking salmon. Smoked salmon, really.
You could have had bacon. No, you picked... Fuck my life, Sean. This is
It's
why
the
I
bacon
drink.
of the sea, okay?
Anyways, moving on. Also, it's also funny because you guys got a roomie up there.
A roomie?
Yeah, somebody already came and took a room.
Oh.
Is
What
it
the-
just one room?
Well, yeah, it's actually just a storage area. We just call it that because you guys can sleep on the hay.
Tell me about this roomie that we have up there.
Some beanpole looking ass. I don't know. He looked kind of funny. He got them one of them strange fucking Satan masks or some shit.
Insight or history would it be to recall memories?
Sure, it would be insight.
$17 total, max.
17 total. You kind of gather people calling the plague doctor Beanpole.
Oh, guys, I'll go say hi to our roomie. If you guys want to come.
As far as I know, he ain't up there currently.
I see.
I'm
Well,
just giving you a warning.
I am kind of knackered as well. I think I'll go take a rest.
Fergus is still stone cold on the counter.
I strength check to pick up Fergus.
Sure, natural 20. But sure,
Max,
yes.
do you have to jinx it?
Did you actually?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, no. You basically
I'll
just
pick-
randomly lean forward, pick him up, sling him over your shoulder like a sack of potatoes. His ass is kind of next to your face. His unconscious body laying a limp as he is going to do another constitution saving throw. He manages so he doesn't throw up. So yeah, you kind of like carry him upstairs, you lay him on some hay, I imagine.
Yep.
Alright. You are also gonna rest, or were you using that as an excuse?
I was using that as an excuse to check out the area.
It looks. Have you ever seen like the top of a barn?
Yeah, like to see if there's anywhere those bug doctors and stuff like that, just to make sure it's him.
Give me an insight check.
That would be a 12.
You see for a moment that there is a small sign of the doctor as you essentially see the mask that he wears. It's hanging from one of the nails.
Oh,
You also see that it is in tatters, like extreme tatters. The right side of where the beak would kind of be is completely like destroyed.
I go to touch the mask.
Sure. As you kind of caress the leather of the mask, you feel that it's still burning. Although it doesn't show, it forces your skin to kind of like bubble slightly.
Okay, Arcana check to see if this is holy magic or not.
Sure.
That's a 13.
Okay, 13. As you do, you kind of like recoil your hand quickly as you realize this is not only holy magic but also necrosis in a way. The mask itself was actually a living entity.
Okay.
Uh,
Interesting.
so basically, it's like what would be stomach acid in a way.
Okay. Yeah. Where's Crow?
Mm. Crow, where are you?
I was at the bar last.
Are you still
I
at the bar?
spoke. I'd say I went around town to look around,
Right.
get a feel for the place.
You push back your stool, you go outside, you're back in the farming town, and you kind of look around. It doesn't seem to have much of a life in a way. There isn't like any
Right.
discotheques or anything like that.
Are there any particular landmarks of the place?
Yes, actually, right in the middle of town there's a very lavish fountain with what seems to be marble ornate decoration all around it.
I go take a look.
Okay, give me an insight check.
Inside 18 total.
How much did you get?
18 total.
18 total. Da-da-da. You basically look at this fountain for a few moments and you begin to see like there are small kind of engraved statuettes like of humans kind of like passing around food. It looks like a very typical picnic scene. There's not much else that can be said.
Is it purely decoration or does it symbolize something?
It seems to be purely decoration, doesn't seem to have any form of symbolism. Right, I need to be right back real quick because I need to use the bathroom. So, one brief moment. You guys can continue to RP if you want.
We're not next to each other.
Fucking tits. Yep, be right back. I am back, sorry about that. Is everyone still here?
Yep.
Yeah, we're still
Alright,
here.
sorry about that. Mother.
Okay, so Yeah, I go take a look around town to see if I find a doctor.
Sure. Give me an investigation check.
Okay, so that would be investigation. 17, Max.
Okay. Kind of begin looking around, and it takes you a few moments before you finally actually manage to see a slight glance of him. You kind of make chase, but unfortunately you lose him quite quickly.
Damn, his legs are too long.
Yeah.
I keep trying to keep finding him.
Alright, give me another investigation check, please.
14 total. No, 15 total, sorry.
Alright, with a 15, you basically manage to kind of catch him again for a brief moment.
Okay, I call out to him.
You do that for a moment, and you see that his face is completely different. You know how previously you kind of saw him with what seemed to be a papyrus-like face? Like half his face was like a papyrus mask?
Yeah.
Now it just seems to be completely covered, hiding most of his eldritch features.
Doc, is that really you?
He nods for a few moments.
How? I saw you use that cursed spell. How are you alive?
He kind of puts a hand up to his lips, and you hear in the back of your mind in a very deep and gravelly voice, "We will talk, but not here."
Okay, do you have the tank?
Kind of like reaches into his cloak for a moment, pulling out a vial, and you see from it irradiating extreme levels of light as he kind of like puts it back in.
Okay, so what are you doing around town?
Mark, you kind of moved away from your mic, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I was talking low.
Professional stream. Anyway.
Sorry, just tired.
It's fine.
So what are you doing around town, Doc?
As we had agreed, we will meet here and discuss.
Yeah, everyone's back at the Shapeshift Tavern, the barn, basically.
That is fine, but we must also leave within the next 3 days.
That's fine. We only paid for the night anyways.
Kind of like begins making his way towards the tavern, kind of keeping an eye on you regardless.
He thinks to himself, he still doesn't trust me, huh? Keeping an eye on me. Well, let's get to the tavern as well.
Oh, it takes you like a few seconds. Meanwhile, Sean, what were you doing during all of this? You kind of like investigated the statuettes, but found that
after I looked around, I headed back to the tavern.
All right.
And simply just made my way straight to the room.
All right. You kind of clamber upstairs. You find Fergus. Like, he looks like a fucking dead body. You know how crime scenes kind of have the outline sprayed on the ground. Imagine that, but on hay. He's like completely sprawled out. So, you begin kind of going up there, and after a few moments, Jackson Hayes, along with the doctor, in this strange papyrus-like mask, appear. How do you react?
Not very surprised, considering the barkeep's description.
Understandable.
But do I recognize that it's the Plague Doctor?
You recognize him because you've never seen a person that tall and he's wearing the same clothing. And he's speechless. Okay. So yeah, what do you want to do?
I'm going. Jackson Hayes is going to, inside of his head, he's gonna call out to the jester.
Yes, my dear.
What do you make of all this?
As I mentioned prior, you're nothing more than a pawn. I only see what I must. I just say, hear the doctor out. He may be the only way you'll live. For now.
So you do want me to live. That's cute.
What use as a host if he dies?
Yeah, I guess I am being used by you, huh?
Why do you
Kingslayer.
have to make it sound so uncivilized?
Well, you aren't really... Well, you can't really say anything better than that, can you?
As you wish, pawn.
Nice.
Yep.
The doctor kind of like eventually moves over to where his mask is as he kind of lays a hand on it, and you see kind of maggots beginning to rise out of the leather, trying to latch onto him as he pulls his hand away.
So, Doc, your mask is a living entity as well.
That
There's
is a
so much
correct
surprises.
assumption.
So many surprises. El Dottore.
He kind of like sits down on the hay, beginning to take out certain objects and vials and different equipment from inside his jacket as he begins kind of like powdering certain objects, putting them inside of other vials, letting them bubble, and then beginning to coat the mask very sparingly by flicking it on it.
So, Doc, tell me, what's the next move?
Your move is your own to make.
What do you mean? We still need to deliver the flower to the Duke.
He reaches in his jacket for a moment as he pulls out the flower, putting it on the ground. Alright. Oh god, it's a real large pain and he has to make this voice, but I'm gonna keep trying. You have a choice to make. You can return it to the king, or I can use it to get rid of the ban on magic that's been plaguing this world.
If we get rid of the ban, then we won't be outcasts, Crow. What do you think it's the right idea to do?
The choice is yours, Jackson Hayes.
Why is it mine? We're a team, weren't we?
You are the leader of said team, are you not?
I leave the choice to you, but with it in our possession, we can do whatever we want with it. When it comes to the king, we have no idea what he might do.
He wants to use it for his dying son. You, again, like, I'm kind of doing the voice in this manner because it actually what it sounds like. He sounds like somebody fucking poured liquid gravel into his esophagus.
Yeah, I can imagine that it takes a toll on a person.
Mhm.
Yeah, going back to RP, yeah, but if the ban's lifted, they can just heal him with normal magic.
It will not work. The boy will die regardless. This is what he pays.
What do you mean? This is what he pays?
The
What
father
did
made a deal with one of the gods. He wanted to have power. He wanted to be able to cast the same spell he seeks to cast again. Except
So-
that time, he made it with the wrong god.
So I see. In order to use the flower, you need to make a deal with the god.
Not exactly. Jackson Hayes, you are currently with one.
You're talking about the Jester, aren't you?
The Jester is just a demon, one of the many puppets of the shadows. I'm talking about myself.
You became a god.
A man who spent his life fighting for never-ending disease, only to be cursed with immortality, so I could keep helping those that could not help themselves.
Can Jackson Hayes walk up to the flower and pick it up?
It's in a vial, he's not gonna stop you, so yes.
Yeah. So he picks up the vial, looks at it.
Okay.
So on one hand, we could remove the curse and we can all be free. But let a child that has done nothing wrong die. Or
Sure.
we could,
Die. Godless.
even if we use the wish flower on him.
That is more than likely. The boy has been blighted by the one and most powerful of them. The fool made a deal.
What god did he make a deal with?
Name the Jokaniki.
The Sphinx?
Corpse eating spirit,
Okay.
mostly found with the times of the only time that it would be able to feast. He eventually became so powerful due to the body he ate, he would take over the rest of us, threatening to kill us.
So you're saying that the king made a deal with him?
That is a correct assumption.
Okay, so Doc, before I make my decision, tell me this one last thing. Why did you choose to take on this mission?
If I could turn back the tide against this magic band, there might have been some time for this. And with the magic band gone, we could take down the Jikan. Yes, it was the Baron. Did I say the King accidentally? My
Wait, the flower, it can grant any wish, or
I think it can grant any. It can cast a spell wish, which any wish within reason.
With Wish, you could literally change the entire history of the world.
because if it's an option, I would maybe suggest lifting the ban by going back and as if it never happened.
You could. You do that. You like
Uh,
say that out loud.
Do you say
I-
that out loud, Sean?
I basically just say it in a sense, like suggest it, not.
You know, Crow. You actually make sense. We could wish before the ban happened. Save the kid and save our lives.
You would.
Of course, it's a very risky option.
As you wish. We should probably wait till Fergus wakes.
Yeah.
That might take some time.
Sleight of hand check inside Fergus's pockets. I am looking for cocoa powder.
Sure. Give me a investigation check.
Wouldn't it be a sleight of hand to check his pockets?
Yeah. I guess so. Again, sleight of hand is more to actually pickpocket if the person is conscious, given that he's knocked out fucking cold.
Okay. 21!
You find like 2 sachets of cocoa powder.
I take one of them and open it and put it under his nose to wake him up.
Sure, that will give him advantage on his con save. Surprisingly didn't manage to roll high enough regardless.
Damn it. I start shoving the cocoa powder up his nose a bit.
Are you trying to kill him?
Trying to wake him up. Guess the kid can't handle his ale, huh?
More than likely given his scrawny. Sure.
Jackson Hayes is still currently holding the vial, right?
I guess, yeah? Sure.
He grabs and he lightly lobs it to the blood doctor.
What are you gonna do, throw it?
Lob it, like, literally. I'm guessing the doctor is like a foot away at this point.
I guess, yeah, you kind of do that. I'm not gonna make you do a check, you do so. So, eventually, Fergus wakes. I'll say it takes all night. You guys, if you lose any hit points, you regain them. So, yeah.
Does he wake up with the cocoa powder in his nose?
He kind of like gets up, sneezes a few times, like, why is there fucking cocoa powder in my nose?
Well, you can't handle your ale, can you, Fergus?
What do you mean? I don't remember fuck all.
You drank a drop. And you fell unconscious.
Don't blame the kid. He's just a child after all.
It was just a drop.
Anyways, is the room spinning for you, Fergus?
Nah, I'm fine.
Okay. Sit down. We need to have a talk.
Alright, kind of like sits down, squatting slightly.
Basically explain everything to Fergus. So Fergus, what do you think we should do?
If we're actually gonna go back in time, maybe, but I could save my parents.
There's a lot of things we could do if we go back in time. But do you really think it's a good idea to alter the timeline?
Couldn't help. The entire reason why we had this band to begin with was because of that fucking Baron cunt.
Just one moment. How long has the band been there?
14 years.
Again? Okay.
Most of our events happened after the band.
Your things happened like literally 14 years later. Except Fergus losing his parents, which happened like 13 years?
Okay,
Anyways, regardless.
What about, but it's risky. We might end up where we are now with the band.
Yeah, but yeah, there's talk of them moving through time. This seems so strange. Is the plant capable of doing such a thing?
The plant is capable of giving us any one wish.
I'm okay with it. I ain't got nothing to lose. I mean, we're technically all on death row.
Yeah, but
The village would be saved.
this is the
Maybe.
thing. This is the thing. If we just choose to do this, we can just choose to do the lifting the ban. With all the experience we have, we can take down a god.
Maybe. Again, my regards, I think it's actually a good idea. But it's gonna be risky for sure.
It's risky either way.
Yeah.
That's why I want a team effort on this.
I say we go for it. Truth be told, I honestly think we should go for it.
Go back in time.
It might solve a lot of problems, it might make more, but if I even have a small chance to see my parents again, there's nothing I wouldn't do. You need to understand that.
In the meantime, while Fergus is talking, I try to talk to the jester again.
What is it? Yeah?
Do you really think it might be a good idea to go back in time?
Why would my response decision just recently called a parasite, not Jackson Hayes?
Never called you a parasite. Told you were using me, yes.
Your not lie to me.
I have no reason to lie, do I?
It's going to be quite hard for you to lie.
Yeah, I don't
Choices.
There's the doctor around?
Yeah, he's around.
Doc, when we go back, do we go back as we are now, or do we go back into our old bodies as well?
You will return as you are now. There will be no change to your physical being.
Okay, where's the Baron located when he did the deal with the god? Do you know?
It's possible, if I'm not mistaken, he had made the deal upon the peak of two mountains. The dwarven mines towards the north.
So,
If we go back in time, we could make it there. We can wish to be there a few months in advance.
yeah, we can stop him.
It might be the only way.
Well then, guys, in order to save our families and to possibly save ourselves, I say we do it. Let's go back in time.
Right, so
You got that?
alright. So, you guys have made this decision. I am double checking now. You guys are going to make this decision.
I'm leaving the decision up to Jackson.
God damn it, guys. Yes, Jackson Hayes is making this decision.
Alright, well. I am just going to quickly play something on stream.
Oh god, please don't tell me we made the wrong decision.
Alright. This is going to also be how we're going to end this session today. Doctor, for a few moments, thinks, pondering to himself, as he grabs the vial in his hand, looking it over. He begins to look towards the wall for a few seconds as he crushes the vial in his hand, forcing the shards of glass to fall away before he simply looks towards all of you. I will not be able to accompany you there. You will find another version of me. Now go. He completely destroys the flower, and you see his entire arm is beginning to flake slightly as shards of skin are beginning to fly off of him. A large, kind of surging, orange-like portal beginning to open up as objects nearby are being sucked into it. As you look through the portal, a frozen landscape awaits. What do you want to do?
A frozen landscape?
That is correct.
But we're in a frozen landscape at the moment.
No, more than likely you're going to be going during winter.
Okay, so... is that the only exit we have?
Literally, you look behind you and the gnome is there shitting himself, not knowing what to make of this the entire fucking thing.
We go through the portal.
What the fuck is going on up there?
Jackson Hayes goes
I'm so high right now.
You guys jump through the portal, all of you landing on a pile of snow. Looking around you for a brief moment, you see a few villagers inside their homes looking at you strangely as you had essentially just appeared on top of the fountain, the ice cracking beneath your feet. You look for a few moments and you see someone, Jackson Hayes. Someone you recognize quite well. And that's where we're going to end today's session. And on that note, that's where we're gonna end today's session. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please come back not next week, the one after, because we're taking next week off due to a LAN party. And yeah, we hope that everybody enjoyed it. I'll be doing regular streams as of next week as well, so keep an eye out for those. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.